Hey everybody, what's going on? Special Forces World's Toughest Test, episode 7. We are here. We take off the gas masks and we are ready for some hard-hitting podcasting once again. And we will not be hitting each other at any point during this podcast. Here I am. I'm back with a woman who would never make me do push-ups, Jenny Autumn. Jenny, how are you?
I'm great. Yeah, I would absolutely never make anyone do push-ups. Why would
Count them
I?
out!
Yeah. You could tell, we'll get into it, but you could tell the pain that he felt making people do push-ups. No, Rob, like you said, we're not going to punch each other. I was coming into this being like, we have been on the same team this entire time. Like we've been podcasting through this journey together, and like the time has come that we have to fight each other. I thought that's what we were doing today.
No,
So
please.
this is kind of awkward. I thought I was gonna have to punch you.
Jenny, this is the world's toughest test. Coming back for another recap here of this show because I take no pleasure in watching this show. I'm here for the
It's
podcast.
not, yeah,
I'm
it's
here
not
for the
a
Millie
labor of
Gang.
love.
I'm here
Yeah.
to do it. I'm here to serve my country and talk about the special forces and serve your country and talk about the special forces world's toughest test. But I get no pleasure out of this other than talking to you because for me, this is especially difficult. And I have a unique experience with the show that maybe not all of the viewers have, where that I talked about this with Shannon Gus this week after I recapped week 2 of Australian Survivor. There was conversation about what is a hero. And it was sort of determined. Shannon Gus said, the right answer to that question of what is a hero is anybody that you look up to. And so for me, very clearly, one of my great heroes of my life is a cast member of Special Forces World's Toughest Test. And
It's the
since
mooch, right?
no, not the mooch.
Yeah,
Since
no.
1998, for 25 years, that there's that was May. No, I believe it was maybe May 31st, 1998. I don't know the exact date, but right around. Actually, maybe a little earlier than that. Mike Piazza came into my life, changed the franchise of the New York Mets, was somebody that I idolized throughout his career on the New York Mets. And now I'm watching one of my heroes, just a shell of himself, just being just like the carcass of Mike Piazza is being dragged through this course.
Yeah.
Failing at every turn. And this is painful for me, Jenny.
Yeah. So is this kind of like, like it messes me up when like someone that I like look up to as like a safety or security, like, like it's like seeing like your dad cry. You're like, oh man, this is, like you don't want you like you want them to be okay because like they're like your pillar of like you make me feel secure. So is that kind of the situation here where you've like always seen this guy like excelling, being just like the best at everything, and you're watching him literally and figuratively being drugged through the mud, like so it's like same sort of thing. Like, has it ruined how you feel about him, his legacy, or is it just like emotionally painful to see someone that feel an emotional connection to
Yeah.
go through this? Like, is
No,
that
it's
it?
emotionally painful. It does not diminish Mike Piazza's legacy to me, but this is not fun watching Mike Piazza like fall on the floor, passed out, and
Yeah, and be
potentially
like, is he gonna die? Like,
just
even though we know that they don't, but there are lots of times where, things happen and I'm concerned. I forget that this has all already happened and I know that these people are not dead. But I'm having these moments watching the show being like, oh my God, are they going to survive?
yes,
And it seems like that's not going to stop based on the previews for
yes.
next week. But
No,
like it's I feel this way about watching all of them though. Like this is painful for me because, you know, and this is like the troublesome part of it is like, preparing for war like the special forces, all of this stuff is like such a foreign concept for me, which is like why I am the stupid girl on the podcast that's like being like, I don't understand this. Like, why? I understand that this is part of the process. I am learning about it through this. And it also makes me kind of sad because it's like, this is a reality for people and they're doing these realistic things. And I'm like, imagine like you're just a celebrity and you're like, I'm just going to go put myself through the horrors of war. Uh, just for funsies.
Yeah.
Like that, now I'm kind of like thinking about the show like in a meta way and being like, this is kind of twisted because I'm sure people that actually have like experience like in the army or have served or whatever, like watch this show and like there's certain things that like, resonate, like they've gone through
Sure.
some
I
of
did
these
this.
things.
Hey, come here. Come
And
here. Let me show you what I went through.
and then it's like, like Anthony Scaramucci is like, doing it. And like, I don't know. And just to see if they can, maybe that's not a big deal, but it just is so, some of the stuff seems so traumatizing to me that
Mhm.
and because they're electing to do this, I'm like, is this kind of impacting like the seriousness of it? Because like this is obviously not a serious podcast either. Like what podcast have you and I ever done
Yeah.
that was serious? So it's like it's such a weird
Does MILF
subject
Manor
matter.
count? Yeah.
Uh, that was
That was
a
a serious
traumatizing hour of
examination
my
of
life.
what's going on there. Yeah.
Yeah. Um yeah, so I don't know. It's just been like a very like I completely agree with you and in that it is not a labor of love. The podcasting part and
We
getting to
do
hear
it for
from the
the
listeners is
listeners.
great.
If you are
Yeah,
hearing the sound of our voice, God bless you. We love you.
we
Thank you
do.
for being here to hear what we have to say about this what we're watching every week.
Yeah. It's and
Thank you.
I am
Thank you for your
I
service.
this is our service. But I I am very like sensitive and so seeing I'm very
You don't
like
have asthma, do you?
I don't think so. I have needed an inhaler at points in my life, but that's usually just because I've had like a respiratory illness, but
You should always have it
um
with you. Yeah.
but I don't take pleasure out of seeing people uh emotionally or mentally in pain or physically, and it's like they're hitting
Mhm.
all of the buttons here,
Right.
and I like I can't even laugh at it because
No.
this is serious. This is painful.
Yeah, there's nothing funny or light that happens on this show. They did talk about eating ice cream at one
Yeah.
point. I guess
I
we
mean,
could touch on that.
like obviously we get some entertainment out of the DS and their particular quirks. And like, you know, the fact that we can tell that they're kind of getting some sort of sick enjoyment out of this whole process.
They like it.
Um that's where most of the entertainment is coming from in their creative ways of berating these people.
Yeah.
But I know that they're saying like you're going to come out of this like a better person. But I also think that some of these people are going to come out of this one absolutely battered and in terrible physical shape from all of the things that they've done to their body. And I don't necessarily I think that it's not like this 10 days is a psychological fix all. It's like they're trying to like get into certain things when they have their little chats with them where they're like, and where does that come from? But I don't think that this takes the place of like real therapy. And if anything, I think that some
Yeah.
of these experiences could be adding to these people's like trauma and baggage leaving this experience. Perhaps I'm
Yeah.
wrong. I don't know.
So I do think that maybe there could be more value in this for, the idea of, okay, we're going to, get you ready for anything you are going to be facing in combat.
Mhm.
Because obviously like these men and women that go through this type of training are going to be inserted into some of the world's most hostile environments to be conducting, special operations for our military and need to be tested in that way. And also, that there probably is value in, okay, well, you went through this. you can do anything. But I wonder if the show is a flawed premise in that really based off of the people that are left, with the exception of Bachelorette Hannah Brown. These are people who all are at the top of their field that
Right. Or at least
seem
were.
or at least were. And I guess for some of them, Mike Piazza specifically, it's like, hey, do I still got it? And sadly, I think we learned the answer to the question. But
Understandably.
it's really a matter of like, well, like if I can do this, then I can do anything. But in the case of like these gold medal winning athletes and NBA champions, and sadly Mike Piazza never won a World Series, but a Hall of Fame athletes, yeah, you can do anything. You've done it.
You've done the things. You don't
You've
need
done
to
the
do all
things.
these things. With Mike, I understand it to a certain degree from the perspective of, my dad was in the military, and I want to understand. I really value the people that serve our country, and I feel like, this is his way of like understanding what other people go through, or like feeling like testing himself through what other people experience to protect the country. I can get like that part of it. And then I guess with Danny, where he said like if he doesn't get a scholarship, that this was the road he was going to go down. But I don't know that you needed to test yourself. Like, why is Hannah Brown saying, of all the things I want to do to test myself, I want to see what it's like to, go through selection for special forces.
Mhm.
And I truly think that a lot of these people did not realize the intensity and the
Yeah.
severity of what they were going to experience. And then they kind of got into it, and then they're like, all right, I don't want to embarrass myself now. I'm
Mhm.
just gonna try to do my best. I can't imagine, your Hannah Browns or your I don't know, like any of the people that maybe come from like the reality world,
Yeah. Special
coming in.
Forces, world's worst agent.
Yeah. I just don't know that this is something that they would have chosen. And I think that for someone who like Hannah, who has literally said like, I have a problem with men yelling, like is this supposed to be like the kind of therapy where you're forcing her to like endure uh something that triggers her like repeatedly for a 7-day period or 10-day period, and then go home and be like, hope that doesn't trigger you anymore. Like now you're also, when you hear a man yelling at you, you're gonna hear like a bomb going off or something.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know, I'm just concerned about like the idea of doing this for entertainment. And I know we're 7 episodes in now, and
Mhm.
this is not like, this shouldn't be a novel
Yeah.
thought at this point, but I'm just like,
Okay.
it's and one other thing that I take issue with is like, we've heard over and over, we've had Foxy, who is not in this episode whatsoever, I believe. Our friend Foxy. I don't think he was in this episode at all. He gets, close to the camera and he says, it's the mental toughness that'll get you through. It's, it doesn't matter if you're physically. But then in this episode, we get them telling us we're at a point where, simply wanting to keep going isn't going to be enough to keep you. And like now, if you voluntarily withdraw, there's more honor in that, because physically you might just not be able to hack it anymore. And so I'm like, well, what is it? Is it
Mhm.
like will your mental toughness be enough to carry you through, or will it not? Because at this point, I feel like I'm getting conflicting messaging.
You need both, maybe.
Well, that is a very understandable concept, but I feel like
The
they've been
forces are very
consistently
special, okay?
saying that it's like more important that you have the mental toughness. But I think that Mike Piazza does have the mental toughness, and that's the only reason why he's lasted this long.
Mhm.
And he just continues to like keep going. Um,
We'll see
and
if
he's
how
getting
much
to the
longer.
point where it's like,
Yeah.
I think, becoming unsafe.
We'll
I
see.
mean, it's
Somebody
all
is gonna
been
it looks like
unsafe,
having a
but
medical emergency next week. I
yeah,
think it's
someone's getting an EpiPen, I
50-50.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, that it's Mike Piazza.
I
We'll
don't
talk
know
about that.
the allergy records of
Yeah.
any of these people, but
But this was a great, opening segment to get into talking about this week's
yes.
podcast. So,
We needed to talk this
an
through, I
airing of
think.
the grievances,
Yes.
for sure. But let's talk about day 7. Just like the rain washing over the barracks
Camp? I don't
camp.
know. Yeah,
Yeah,
barracks, I think. Barracks
yeah.
is like where they go to bed, I think. And the whole thing is a camp, maybe? I don't
Mhm.
actually know the technical term
Yeah.
here. They are
This
in the
was
desert.
Carly's episode. We
Yes,
have been
we
talking
knew
about
it was
that
coming eventually.
we didn't know who Carly was. We got to know her a little bit here in this week's show.
Yeah, a little bit. And it kind of just like got tied up with a bow at the end. And I kind of felt like uh and and I don't want to minimize Carly Lloyd whatsoever because clearly
We
she
would never.
is a very decorated and accomplished athlete. But I felt like they went from being like she's she's really just not hacking it and like has been failing, and then like she does one thing right, which I will say shouldn't be weighted equally across all of the people because in all of the other scenarios they're all doing the same thing. I don't think fighting each other can be considered level. But
Mhm.
anyway, that's we'll get into that. And then she does one thing right, and they're like, she's conquered. She did it.
She
It's
did it.
like that's it. She just needed to get one thing right, and they were gonna be like, she got through it, and like they're not gonna bother her again. I don't know it, but it was her episode. Uh,
Yeah.
finally, I guess.
Yes, staff really like talks themselves into things of like this person. Do they want it? What's their deal? I don't know.
Yeah,
Get them in here. Let's see.
yeah.
Let's test. Let's really put the focus on them. Like, all right.
And they probably were looking at like their sheets and they're like, have we even talked to this person? Oh,
Mhm.
we should probably do that. Let's decide to nitpick things they've done at this point so that we can create a narrative to bring them into the room and interrogate them.
They got to. They got to. And I think
Yeah.
they realized like, hey, I don't think we've ever done anything with Carly here. She's one of the only 6 people left in the show. Get her in here.
Yeah. Like we're running out of people. We've already, put all of these other people's feet to the fire. So we need something fresh. Let's yell at Carly today.
Jenny, time to talk about chemical warfare. Chemical
Oh,
warfare is real. Obviously, it is a hellish thing that any person would have to deal with, and so we are going to put our recruits through a incredible ordeal of dealing with chemical gas.
yeah. This uh like every single thing they do this week or like each week, I'm like, this is oh my gosh, this is terrifying. This is terrible. Um, this is a different kind of terrible because they're not, you know, a million feet in the air. They're not, hurting their body like
Mhm.
physically. Like they're walking into a shipping container filled with tear gas and just being annihilated chemically. It's a totally different kind
Yeah.
of torture. And it was like really difficult to watch because the only way you could understand how bad it was, what they were going through, was by hearing them speak and looking at their face and like seeing their reaction. There was no action in terms of like, someone flailing and falling and like, where a lot of the other tasks have been like quite physical. And this bordered on like psychological for me because I could tell all of the layers of pain that was like being experienced, but you could only see it by like listening, like using your senses and like hearing their voice, how much they struggled to speak and like breathe. And so I found this especially difficult to watch.
Yeah. Far be it from us to quibble with what the special forces instructors are having people do, but I kind of thought that the test was going to be okay. we are going to put our, special forces operatives and our soldiers into a situation where, they are going to have their gas masks on and have to go into an environment. But instead, we brought them into the shipping container, and then Billy is going to tell them, okay, all right, take off your mask. Like, are you
I was
sure? Was
not.
this a trick?
Yeah,
Was this a trick?
and because they have Rudy first. So Rudy's on the outside, and he puts the gas mask on them and lets them know what the mission is and what they have to do. And I feel like at no point he said, "You're going to take your mask off when you get like I'm putting this gas mask on you for no reason because you're going to take it off." Like, I don't feel like we as the audience were prepared or they were prepared. They just knew that Billy was going to be in there. And by the way, there is nothing comforting about the statement, DS Billy will be inside. Like, that makes it less comforting to me. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's extra chemical warfare for me.
For sure. Well, there's also, Jenny, sometimes where it's like they're tricking you, where
Yeah.
that Billy's like, take off your mask, and it could have been like a
You should
wrong,
have known.
Fail! You never take off your
Yeah.
mask. Like a
Like,
couple
I
of them,
literally
like,
I thought that was going to happen when the first person that went was Dwight, and when Billy gets him to take his gas mask off, I was like, "Oh my god, is he going to like scream at him and say, "You never take your mask off in a chemical warfare environment?" But no, he was supposed to take the gas mask off, and then he starts asking him questions.
Yes. Well, he starts asking questions, and then this is like the most like polite and conversational Billy has ever been. Like
Truly.
it's like it's not like, all right, take your mask off. Like, all right, go for the mission. And he's like, he takes your mask off. All right, so recruit. What's your name?
What is your name?
Yeah. Tell me about the mission. How was
Yeah.
what you have for breakfast for today? Like he's like
What are you going to pick up in here? Yeah.
Billy.
Yeah. It was very strange. But also he would still kind of get mad because it's like I also felt like the rules were not consistent, which they never seem to be. Where like some people he was fine with them saying their first name, and then like I feel like with other people he was like like Dwight who or whatever. Like I don't know. I just felt like he was getting nitpicky about certain things, and like what he would accept as the answer for like why are you here kind of like varied. And yeah, I mean, like I felt like how can they hear him? Because
Mhm.
and that's the other thing. Billy's still wearing the gas mask.
He didn't take his mask off.
He
No.
keeps the gas mask on the entire time. And if I am using Billy as my guide in these situations, like I would get in there and be like, this man who is still wearing his gas mask is telling me to take mine off. This is a trick. I am absolutely
Mhm.
like, what if I take it off and I immediately die? I don't know anything about this. It
Mhm.
didn't seem
Do
like
what
they
I
prepared
say.
them.
No, don't think.
If you fail, you will die. Like
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
easily could have been the situation. I don't know.
So the recruits had to find the medical kit, find the backpack, which was in one of the
Mhm.
barrels, and then they had to find a different way out. And so a
Yeah.
lot of them, like I think a lot of them did not really understand it to find a different way out. So a lot of them are going for the door, and Billy's just yelling at them, "No, you can't go
Yeah,
that way.
God,
It's blocked.
Yeah,
It's
but
blocked."
here is another issue I take with this is that I feel like in the first couple explanations with Rudy, he didn't really quite explain. I think he maybe said he's like, I'm gonna be on the other side of the door. Um, and maybe they just didn't process like, so that means you can't get out of that door.
Mhm.
I will say, from the look of the inside of this shipping container, it didn't seem obvious to me that those windows you could get out of. And then it wasn't until like people were having issues and not realizing you couldn't get out the way they went in that I noticed when he was explaining what to do to the next people, he put a little bit more emphasis on you need to find an alternate exit. I was like, well,
Mhm.
that's not fair because now you're being a
Well, Dwight
little bit
Howard did it
more.
though.
Yeah, but like I just felt like he suddenly started being a little bit more clear in like the
Mhm.
fact that you couldn't come out the way that you came, by being like emphasizing the word alternate. And I was like, well, that's not fair to Mike. I didn't
Mhm.
feel like he got that much of a
Yeah.
explanation, but again,
I think that Dwight Howard also had a little bit of an advantage of that the window was at a height where that it was not
right.
difficult for him to like there was a
Yeah, he
couple
just like
people
leans
just
over.
like they're like that they were not getting out of the window no matter what they did.
Now, I don't understand many things. And many of them are scientific. Uh so I don't know how the tear gas works and how it expands, but do you think that Dwight Howard also had an advantage in being so tall that perhaps he had more time for the gas to penetrate his like lungs because of how high he is from the
So, do you
ground?
feel like that you feel like the gas stays lower to the ground and
I think
then
it probably
doesn't
well,
rise?
we saw Billy throws the little tear gas bomb thing onto the
Oh,
floor of
interesting.
the shipping container, and then, I mean,
It's possible.
it goes up, right? Like, does I know that heat rises,
Mhm.
so does I
Does
gas
gas
probably
sink?
rise? I don't know, I need Liana here to explain science to me, but
You're probably
I'm
right.
just
It's
wondering if
probably
being
more
taller helps.
gassy lower to the ground than like I don't know like if it was like 5% easier or 10% easier, but probably being tall. I mean, but Mike Piazza's pretty tall.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, how terrible would the mooch have done on this? Like, he got out at the right he must have known. He saw some notes. He saw, like, the course plan. He's
He
like, "I'm
knows
gonna
when to
leave
get the
right
hell
before
out
the
of
tear
something. He
gas."
knows when things are going
Yeah.
downhill. Yeah.
Because if the, if the distance from the ground is an actual factor, he
Yeah.
has definite issues here. But I'm just thinking like if seconds are important here, which it seems to be, I
Hmm.
would think that if it takes more
It's a good
seconds for
catch.
the
Yeah.
gas to get up to the and Dwight got first goes first. Is there leftover tear gas like lingering in the air from all of the previous tear gassings? Like, or were they different shipping containers?
Hmm. I think they were all the same shipping container. I think they only have one gassy shipping container with a
So how
window.
quickly does that clear out? Don't you think that like by the third or fourth person going in after they've already let off tear gas bombs in there, that it's probably worse in there?
Interesting.
I am very focused
You
on
really thought this through, Jenny.
well, listen. Listen, this is a painful show for me to podcast about, but I do take it seriously, despite
Hmm.
what you might
Yeah.
think. I
You've
was
given a
just
lot of
thinking,
thought to the tear gas hot box.
yeah, doesn't that make sense?
Hmm. You're
So
making a lot of sense to me.
I don't think
Maybe you
that
should
it
be
was
staff.
fair. Oh my god. I
Hmm.
would VW within seconds if I had to
Yeah.
deal with well, maybe they don't yell at each other. Actually, maybe that's what I need. I need to be on the right side of the men that yell. They yell to
Hmm.
protect me. That's what I need.
That would be look
You
something
imagine me
to
and Billy
experiment
just
with.
just hamming it up together.
Hmm.
Oh
Maybe
boy.
you have that side to you.
I would do the therapy stuff. Like I would like to have the questioning, the soft part where it's like
Like
helping
bring
people.
him in there.
Yeah, I mean, but I
Bring him
also
in.
wouldn't want them to like put a bag over their head and like roughhouse them as they sit them
Mhm.
down. Like I would just be the therapist, I think. And I am not a therapist. I should put that out there.
Yes, okay.
I'm a lowly
Well, in
academic
fairness,
advisor.
neither is anybody on this show.
Well, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
well, I haven't seen all of their credentials, but I'm pretty sure that they're just special forces people. So
Mhm. Okay. So after Dwight Howard goes, this is compared to it's like being painfully drowned, and that really stood out to me because I would have to imagine just being drowned in any way is painful, but to be
right.
painfully drowned sounds especially bad.
So being painfully drowned, does that mean you're being drowned but also being like abused, like, hit with things, like you're not just drowning, like things are hitting you, your body
Hmm.
is experiencing trauma at the same time? Is that painfully drown? I don't know,
I don't
because I
know.
think any sort of drowning must be painful if your lungs are filling up with water and you are unable to.
Hmm.
I think that's painful, but
Okay. Let's talk about Mike Piazza. Okay. Can Mike Piazza's body still take the abuse? The answer is going to be a resounding no.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
It was quite, and we all knew this was coming. Didn't we talk about this last week, Rob? You said if anyone's gonna quit, and spoiler, he doesn't quit, but like I thought that if anyone was not gonna make it to the end at this point, it could be him,
And he may
because
not. He may not.
he
He's
might
thinking
not.
about it.
We're not there yet.
Okay. So Mike is told to take off your respirator. He's hedging a little bit. He's are you sure?
Yeah, rightfully so. How many times have they done something that they think makes sense, and they are told, or they do what they're told, and then they're like, you shouldn't have done that. Like, I think it's completely fair to be like,
There's a lot of entrapment that goes on.
I'm in a gassed room. You're wearing the gas mask. Why am I taking mine off? This does not seem safe. Very reasonable thought.
Mike Piazza is immediately told stop panicking, and that he is very panicked. He ends up like falling hard to the floor.
Oh. And then that was when they went to commercial, right? Like,
They
it's
went
like
to
right as he
commercial.
goes
It's like,
down,
oh my god,
it's
is Mike
like,
Piazza dead? No,
yeah.
he gets back to his feet, can't get to the window. They kick him out of there. Mike Piazza says that he went down like soft bleep in the rain.
Yes. And I also took note of this, and I don't know what the soft bleep is.
Soft in the rain.
Like,
I mean, it must be poop. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Is that a phrase?
Does that go down in the rain?
I mean, maybe
Does
like
he mean
liquefies,
like it like disintegrates
yeah, I
into
think
the
so.
ground?
Yeah.
That's what he means.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard that expression before.
Neither have I.
I'm learning so much from this show.
We're learning.
We're learning
so
about
much.
eating the elephant's ass. We're learning about soft-ish in the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many things.
Okay. We don't spend a lot of time on Danny Amendola or
He's perfect.
Gus.
He's the golden boy. Come on.
Yeah, Danny Amendola, he nails it. Perfect role. Gus,
he's back, baby.
it was painful, but he got through it. Okay.
And everyone's like spitting, like, and like almost puking when they get out, which is like,
okay.
Yeah, they're choking.
Yeah. Gus says it was like being deep fried, which sounds delicious, but
yeah, they're very hungry, as we've noticed. They're not getting enough calories, so he's thinking about getting deep fried. I noticed one of Gus's like favorite words in this episode. He says gnarly a lot.
Gnarly.
Which makes sense. He's like a skier. I feel like that's snowboard skier terminology.
Lingo.
Yeah.
It is pretty gnarly.
Yeah. He's like, oh, that gas was gnarly. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty gnarly.
All right. And then Gnarly Carly is going to be coming up next. And she's failed most of the missions. We get that backstory. She comes close. She ends up getting her hands on the medical bag, ends up getting out the window, but in her panic, she left the medical bag inside the cargo container. And that was a big fat fail.
Again, I think that this is where, some people are more advantaged, like you said, with Dwight being taller, that the window is at a height where it's not so hard for him to get out. I think when you're already like struggling to breathe and like maybe starting to panic, carrying like trying to get out of a window, and the window was not low, like they had to like kind of like push themselves up to get out of it. Also holding a giant heavy medical kit, understandably, I think I could see dropping it, because I think she was kind of holding it. Maybe she was thinking she could jump out and then pull it out with her. I don't know. Because
I think she's just like, oh my god, I have to get out of this room because it's filled with tear gas.
I am dying quickly. Yeah, which I completely understand.
And it's not a real medical kit, and this is pretend.
This is all fake, and why am I doing this to myself? And this is how you know that they have chosen Carly today to be the one. that
Mhm.
they really focus on in how they respond to her failing, because Rudy Rudy was very, very prominent in this episode. I feel like this was also Rudy's episode, where he runs over and says, "Epic fail!" Like when Rudy's being the meanest one, like,
Mhm.
and Billy's like the soft spoken asking you your name and what you're doing, like things are wild on this episode. But yeah, you can tell that they're really like turning the knife, like, Carly, you failed again.
Again, what's your problem?
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
you're a professional athlete. Why can't you do these
Okay.
tasks?
So she will be having her time in the barrel coming up in a little bit. So um everybody goes back to the barracks. Everybody's talking about how tough it was. Mike is discussing how hard he hit the ground. It was very hard.
Yeah, and
Sad.
his face is, like, scraped up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he really took a big, what did he say? I thought there was, like, another, euphemism he used to say how he hit the ground. Oh, he did say to Carly that he's like, "Yeah, he's like, hard, I almost died in
He
there."
died.
Like, he literally almost died. Oh, and
Mhm.
we should not forget that because Hannah has asthma, she was not able to complete the task. That because we see like this doctor, this chief medical officer early in the episode
Mhm.
talking to I can't remember who they were talking, Rudy, I think. That like this could have put her into like a life-threatening asthma attack. But Remy is like, just because you can't like you have health limits to one thing doesn't mean that you're not gonna pay. You
Yeah.
gotta pay the man.
You gotta pay the man. Okay, so
And
everybody's
so
eating, yeah, and then so Remy is there to administer. It's payback time. Well, I don't know if do we have to call it payback? Like, okay, like,
like
all right,
she didn't do
here's
anything wrong.
yeah, it's payback. You think you have you
Yeah.
got off easy because you have asthma?
Oh,
Payback.
Miss Asthma, with your TikTok followers.
Mhm.
I'm gonna make you pay the man for that.
I
Like,
bet you can't wait to get back to your inhaler and breathing. No,
yeah,
it's
and
payback.
health.
Yeah,
Yeah, and this was the task that she had to do instead, which again, I wouldn't want to do this either, but I feel like it's just not the same thing. And also probably would still be hard for someone with asthma. I don't know. I guess
yeah,
like being in a tear gassed room when you have asthma is definitely like not something you want to risk. But I also think that like covering yourself, so she has to cover herself in water. She has to get completely wet and then completely cover her body
they
in
love
sand.
this.
She's
Yeah.
rolling around in the sand. They love doing this. This is
This is
weird.
like the breadcrumbs of,
Yeah, they are coating themselves to go in the deep fryer.
mhm, going to deep
So
fryer,
perhaps
right.
that actually makes sense. I
Mhm.
got like I'm more of an air fryer kind of girl, but
Yeah.
um, and so she just covers herself like a chicken cutlet, and she has to like carry like sandbags or something,
Mhm.
and just like stack them.
Yeah, get in the
Like, oh,
water,
this is
roll in the
chemical warfare.
sand, move the sandbags, rinse and repeat, do it
Yeah,
over again.
like
So,
still
not
not
that exciting.
fun,
Yeah.
but also like we're just finding out that Hannah has asthma. I feel like all of this stuff would have been bad for someone with asthma, would it not?
I
All
I
of the
I guess so,
running,
but I
all
guess
of the
she has the inhaler, so if she needs it, again, I'm not an asthma expert or somebody with
right.
asthma, so I don't know exactly, what it entails, but I feel like that, worst case scenario, she has her inhaler to help her, whereas if she was in the, toxic cloud, I don't know if the inhaler is gonna
It's
do
gonna do
any yeah.
much, right. Or whether it even works, I don't know, again. But they did say, like, you should always have your inhaler with you. So I wonder if she's been using it this entire time, like, after all of the running. But if any of the asthma community that's listening can enlighten me on whether a person with asthma should be doing any of these things, I
Probably not.
I'm interested to know, because I feel like this is interesting news. I wouldn't be messing with this if I had asthma, but
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like. So
Jenny, let's check in with the staff that they are talking about how Danny was perfect. Okay, but Carly,
Superman.
she's failing a little too much.
Yeah.
Let's get her in here.
They're like, I wonder if she wants to be here. Do you think she wants to be here? It's like, do you
Mhm.
think any of these people want to be here at
No,
this point?
to count down the days. They're very focused on dessert back in the barracks.
Yes, because they
Okay,
haven't had any sugar
no
apparently
sugar.
besides fruit.
Yeah, it looks like they were eating some spaghetti, which looked
Yeah,
okay.
it it looked a little dry to me.
Yeah, I like those
The
metal dishes that they eat out of.
You like them?
Yeah, I like those.
What is it? You think they're just like easy to clean?
It's yeah, I guess maybe the appeal to me is I like the size. And I feel like it's kind of like a plate and a bowl.
Okay, yeah.
Like
I
that. I
do
feel
like
it's
that
a
kind of
lot of
shape
utility. Yeah.
where something can be both a plate and a bowl. Um, my issue with metal is I absolutely abhor the sound of a
Okay.
fork and like a metal mixing bowl
Mm,
sound.
yeah,
That is hell
that could
to me.
happen.
That's
Yeah.
auditory hell. That's auditory warfare to my to me. So that part I wouldn't like. But if you have like a wooden spoon or something like that you're
Mhm.
eating with the metal bowl, then that's totally fine. But I would be
Uh,
concerned about the scraping noises.
did anybody's dessert order make you notice?
Okay, so I'm not a sweets gal. I'm a savory. I'm a savory
Mhm.
person. So I think I would probably be doing okay here. But again, I think whenever you are like deprived of something and you know you can't have it, that's when you start
Yeah.
craving it. Gus has ice cream every night at
Yeah.
home. Um, Interesting. Do you think that
Yeah.
has anything to do with like the skiing? Like he's always like in the snow. Like, do you think after being out in the
Interesting.
cold all day, you want to go home and have a cold bowl of ice cream?
Hmm. I didn't put the two together. I just think maybe he has a sweet tooth.
Yeah, but there's lots of other things you can have that are sweet that aren't like
Hmm.
cold. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he's got really good teeth that aren't sensitive to to the cold. I
To
don't
the
know. I
cold.
just think like if your whole existence is out in cold, I don't want cold again. I'm very focused on
What would be
temperature.
like a hot dessert, like a pie?
Well, I definitely wouldn't want a pie, but like, yeah, like any sort of like, hot. I hate hot fruit. That's just
Hot
disgusting to
fruit.
me. Yeah, I have the thing with fruit in any other form, but it's regular form. This is my
Mhm.
one big food quirk
No, I didn't
is
know this.
I don't mess with pie. I don't mess with jam, jelly. I don't really like dried fruit. I would love to eat. I'll eat an apple. I will eat a. I don't really love bananas, kind of, but that's my
Mhm.
one that I'm like, eh. I'll eat fresh fruit. Totally fine. Once you start mushing it up, and once you make it hot,
Yeah, you
hell
want it
no.
in its natural state.
But you can have like desserts that are not cold and are like more close to like room temperature, like a cheesecake or any sort of cake. You could have like a warmed brownie. When I have a warmed brownie, I would like a little bit of ice cream on the side though, because you want
Okay.
to balance out the heat in the anyway. But I'm not a big dessert person, despite what I just said. I don't know. I
It
would
sounds
never.
like it,
I
yeah.
do. I
Feel like you're
don't.
trying to entrap me. Yeah.
No, no, I don't know, but I am interested in this ice cream that Dwight mentions, and I've never heard of such a thing.
What is it?
And you guys have things in the United States that we don't have up here in Canada,
What did
but
he
I
say?
also don't go shopping for ice cream very often. He said sprinkles ice cream with red velvet in it, and everyone nodded knowingly like they knew what he was talking about.
Hmm.
Have you ever heard of this?
I'm not a big red velvet guy, so I don't think that I would be aware of it. Is
So
Sprinkles a brand?
I like red velvet, but I realize the reason why I like red velvet is because red velvet things are usually paired with cream cheese frosting, which I like.
Hmm.
It's
Okay.
not so much the red velvet part of it. But like so it's an ice I'm guessing like it's an ice cream with sprinkles in it and then there's maybe chunks of like red velvet cake in it.
Hmm.
I've
Okay.
never heard of this ice cream. It sounds like if you are a sweet person and you like red velvet, it sounds pretty good.
Dwight Howard's into it.
I like
Okay.
birthday cake, like, flavored things usually, so if it's, like, anything like that.
Okay. We'll have to ask
And
Dwight Howard
then,
in the exit interview.
yeah, we'll have to find out about this ice cream where he gets it. And then Hannah just said, like, mentioned cereal. She said cinnamon toast crunch and honey nut Cheerios. I
Yeah.
used to eat
That's not a dessert, Hannah
a
Brown.
sweet.
Don't get
It
out of it.
isn't, but I will say I don't like eating sweet cereal as a breakfast or as cereal.
Hmm.
I will, and I would do this sometimes, eat sweet cereal like a cinnamon toast crunch or something like that, dry as a snack, as a dessert, as a treat, because that's how it seems natural to me. I don't want to like put it in a
You
bowl
only
with
like things in
milk.
their natural state.
Yes, I'm au natural.
Mhm.
Uh no, I just I don't like sweet cereal as a cereal.
Mhm.
I'll eat it like chips, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'll eat like the little cinnamon toast crunch and then maybe have a glass of milk with it. But I don't
Wow.
want to mix, like I don't want soggy like the remnants of cinnamon sugar on it and then I've got like this flavored milk in the bottom. No. Absolutely not.
Mhm.
I'm a
Yeah.
plain cereal kind of girl
Okay.
if I'm eating
Maybe we'll get
cereal.
you a Ethan's on Crunch Bowl.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, I'd
Mhm.
probably like
Yeah.
it.
All right. Well, Carly is going to get brought in, and the guys are talking, and one of the guys is looking at like her laptop and reading her bio and said, "What a glorious career for Carly Lloyd." I would love for somebody to say that about me one day. What a
I'm sure
glorious
people
career!
say that about you all the
A
time. What a
glorious
glorious
career?
podcasting career you've had.
Wow.
I think there's a
Wow.
lot of I think you've experienced in terms
Glorious.
of
You don't hear that word very much.
it did seem a little dramatic.
What a
But
glorious career.
it was like it was met with like what a glorious career she's had. We're not getting that here.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
like,
Carly
oh,
Lloyd, glorious career.
yeah.
4-time Olympian, 2-time FIFA Player of the Year, 2-time Olympic gold medal. I mean, that is pretty glorious. A lot of
Yeah.
glory. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So they bring her in and she talks about how in her soccer playing career, she had a coach and the coach taught her to be numb and emotionless. And that caused some problems like with her family. But I gotta be honest. Like they're like, oh yeah, that's this is gonna help you get past that being numb and emotionless. Like, excuse me, sir. Like, isn't
Yes.
this exactly what this exercise is all about?
Yes, I had the exact same reaction. I was like, this is so messed up. Like, I feel like they're gaslighting me constantly in the
No,
show, being
they're
like,
just guessing.
they're gassing
There's
and gaslighting. I think that is both things are happening here. Because they're that is literally what this whole message has been is like you need to shut down those emotions and just push through the pain and like that is exactly like being numb and emotionless. And then when Carly says this caused her to and they said yeah that causes difficulty with your loved ones. Your loved ones are the ones that pay for that when you go into that mode. She said yeah I
Mhm.
pushed my family out, didn't speak to her family for 12 years, she said she missed out on birthdays and weddings and like her family wasn't even at her wedding. Like this sounds quite like significant. And then they follow this with saying okay well you need to get back into that mindset. She's literally revealing that she's like that this had a toll on her life and
Mhm.
probably the reason why she's not doing so well in the course is because she's probably trying to unlearn that behavior and let her family back in and show emotion and be more human. And they're like, yeah, so about that progress you've made, yeah, we're just going to want you to try to forget that and go back to the numb and emotionless because that's what we're doing here.
We need a
And
little
this
bit
is
of that.
and you're going to leave in a better place. I'm like, no, you're going to put her right back into that same mindset. She's probably going to leave here damaged and probably have a hard time like adjusting back to the way she
Mhm.
was. Like if you spend years being a certain type of way, that doesn't just go away, I would think. And if she puts herself in an environment that like calls this upon her, I think that that is not going to be an easy switch to flip off as soon as she gets
Well,
on the plane and leaves Jordan.
they woke something up because it's time for the milling.
Yes, it's
You ready to
the
mill
milling
about?
gang.
Yeah, the milling gang. Yes. All right. And here today, our exercise is all about gauging that raw warrior spirit. Okay. It's all about aggress, aggress, aggress.
This is not for me. They are like, they're like, we want to incite rage and aggression in all of these people, and this is why this was more difficult for me, because listen, it was all fun and games when it was the red man.
Yeah.
We didn't know who the red man was. He was a faceless enemy. We just fight this man. I don't know. I'm just trying to let out my aggression, and I don't know who I'm hurting, and I've been told that it's okay to hurt this person and they are expecting it.
Yeah.
Now, after days of extreme bonding, trauma bonding, clearly with these people, they are now going to have to fight each other aggressively, like majorly. That
Yeah.
is not like that part of it is so messed up to me. Are people fighting like each other
I
in
didn't
war?
really
That doesn't make
understand this.
sense.
Yeah, because I kind of feel like that everything that we've learned so far, for the most part, has been, hey, you have to keep your cool. Don't panic. Keep your cool. Stay calm under pressure.
Yeah.
That you are your brother's keeper. You are responsible for these other people. But I guess there might be times when you have to, fight your own people.
I don't understand this as a concept. And
Mhm.
also, again, this goes back
You don't
to
have to understand. Just do what we
no, just
say.
do it. We said they are supposed to push back emotions. They don't like when they've seen them get angry before or frustrated. Like we saw
Mhm.
what happened when Danny got angry. And to me, my understanding is that rage and aggression are kind of related to an emotion.
Mhm.
And now suddenly we're like, okay, we're okay with this very raw negative emotion that causes like physical harm on people. And now also you're going to inflict that upon each other. I don't think there's a situation in war where you're like, now suddenly the guy beside you have to fight him. Like this isn't a thing, right? Like they in the middle of this like war situation, they've decided they're on the other side now, and now you have to fight them. Like what is this?
Okay, but it did make for some good TV. So we're not going to
Yeah.
complain too
And then
much.
that's what I'm
Okay?
saying is I think that this is simply what was the case. They're like, what's going to really mess them up? Having to fight each other. There's no way that this is a real war thing. Like maybe it is. Maybe they do this in special forces to teach them the like to have the psychological impact on it that they do, where you have to like go against someone that you have grown affection for. But I just don't understand this as like, because every other task they're like, this teaches you, like this prepares you for this situation in war. I just don't think that there's a situation where you're like fighting someone on your team.
Again, we're experts on cereal. We are experts
Barely.
on the states of fruit. We
This
are
is
out of our
far from.
comfort zone.
But
Okay.
I just think this was for TV. They're like, it would be really fun if they fought each other. That's what I'm saying,
Yes.
is I think that this was for TV.
Yeah. We know that the red man was real. That was real.
Yes. The red man is a thing. And
Yes. We
now
heard
it's like
from
you become the red man. You become somebody else's red man.
mhm, for sure. Okay. All right. Battle number 1, Dwight Howard versus Danny Amendola.
Yeah, and again, we're down to 6 people, and so they have to figure out who they're going to pair. What do you think of the pairings? Pairings probably made the most sense, right?
Probably made the most sense.
Like,
I mean, you could have had Dwight Howard versus Mike Piazza. That would be a better like height matchup. But
true. Yeah,
that I
because
think
Danny's
that
kind of short, right?
yeah, I don't know if Mike Piazza lives through that one.
Yeah, probably not. But also like Gus is a pretty fit guy. Like Gus is still an athlete and
Yeah.
he's young.
I
He's like
think
what,
that
29,
yeah,
so
Gus versus Danny Amendola might have been a good matchup also, but I think that
yeah.
probably, this was, it's just like such a big height discrepancy between Dwight Howard and Danny Amendola.
Yeah, I think maybe they were thinking like, okay, well, Dwight and Danny, like, both played like big four sports, and are like similar in age, similar amount of time away from the sport. Whereas, Gus is an athlete, but like his sport is skiing.
Mhm.
So not that there's fighting in basketball. Well, sometimes there's a fight,
Sometimes
but
it's like, yeah.
it's not
Too bad there's
part
no
of the
hockey
game.
players.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what hockey play. They're like, yeah, I don't need to do this.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I think that was maybe the mindset where it's like maybe Gus's sport is like slightly less physical, in
Mhm.
terms of your body. I don't know. Maybe I'm not
Yeah.
making any sense. They had to, and then obviously they're gonna put the two women together.
Yeah, made sense. Okay,
Yeah.
so Dwight Howard versus Danny Amendola. This was pretty evenly matched up, but I thought it was interesting that Danny Amendola is like, hey, like they want us, like I'm not gonna just go like punch somebody for no reason. It's like dot dot dot. But if it's a competition, like
Let's get it on.
you're literally punching somebody for no reason. Like
Yeah. This is, and they've
that's what the
told us
competition is.
at the beginning of every episode of this show, they say that like they basically explain to us there's no prize. This is not a competition.
Yeah,
So is this task considered competition?
I
Because
guess so.
well, I mean, they did literally declare winners of each fight, so it kind of did become a competition. But it
But you
was
didn't win anything.
you won the a kiss from daddy. Um you got the praise from Billy and the gang.
Mhm.
Which is
The
at
Billy
this
Gang.
point they receive so much abuse from them. I'm sure like even the slightest bit of praise feels so magical.
Yeah. All right, Hannah Brown, actually, then okay, so yeah, Carly Lloyd versus Hannah Brown.
Oh,
Um,
and Danny won. So they
yeah.
they they gave the win to Danny, and Dwight seemed a little pissed off, because I think that like Dwight was going for it. They stopped them many times, but then Rudy was
Reset!
like, Rudy was like, it's not who lands the most punches, it's who possesses and shows rage and violence to go
Mhm.
on after being hit hard.
Yeah.
And I think at one point Dwight might have been kicking.
No kicking!
Yeah, they yelled no kicking at him. So I feel like maybe they were just like,
Did he
Dwight,
lose style points? Yeah.
I think he maybe lost style points, and then when they gave it to Danny, Dwight seemed pissed off because I think he was like, "I went ham, and this guy is the one that won."
Mhm. Carly Lloyd versus Hannah Brown. This was not really a fair fight.
No,
She's a lover, not a fighter, Hannah.
exactly. This would be like me and like I
Carly
don't
Lloyd.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Carly Lloyd. Me and literally like any woman
Mhm.
with like and like a smidge more like natural aggression in them
Yeah.
than me, which is basically anyone. Yeah, this would not have been fair. And that's why, and no offense meant to Carly Lloyd, but that is why I'm kind of like, okay, well, they had been on her ass about like failing all of these tasks. And this one is like fighting Hannah Brown is not the same as like doing the same task as everyone else has done in all these other situations. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like maybe if she had to fight Dwight Howard, I don't know. I just think that like this being, it's not shocking that this was what she passed is what I'm trying to say. So I kind of felt like
Yeah.
they threw
Yeah,
her
this was a bad break for Hannah Brown that the Carly got this pep talk right before their battle.
but I think that she would have won anyway is what
She
I'm
would have
trying
won
to
anyway, but I
say.
think she had a little, I got something to prove also today.
Yeah, probably.
This was a rough
But
draw for Hannah Brown.
I don't think that there was any situation where Hannah Brown was winning this,
Yeah.
and I also don't think that she cares.
Mhm.
She
All
just
right.
like Punch me out. Just don't yell at me.
Mhm. Mike Piazza versus Gus. And, on paper, you think that maybe this is a little bit of a mismatch. But Gus has youth on his side. And ultimately, Mike Piazza has had a long day.
Oh my gosh, he's
Um,
still recovering from being gassed almost to death.
yeah. And then I felt like Gus got in like one real good sucker punch to the gut of Mike Piazza that
It
really.
was like his kidney. I was like, this man's gonna need to go to the hospital.
Right. You're wearing like a lot of like protective gear on your
No, on their
head and stuff like
body.
that. But then like there was just like one real big like body blow to Mike
While he was
Piazza
on
in
his
this.
back too. Like,
Mm,
it's just like pure
yeah.
force with
Yeah.
nothing like to push you back.
Yeah. Mike says he felt like a truck hit him. This was a tough day.
This was the sweetest moment where he just goes, this was a tough day. It's like he has
Mhm.
been through hell and back, and then he somehow still like has this sweet energy about him where he was like, that's all he said. He's like, yeah, this was a tough day.
This was
Like
tough.
he still has this good attitude. I don't know.
Mhm.
It's very endearing.
Yeah. He's a nice guy, Mike Piazza, but this is, he's having second thoughts.
Yes. It's been hard.
Staff notices, they're like, they're disappointed in him. He's getting discouraged.
And then they said like, but then they get inspirational with him. They go to his soft spot and they say
Not his stomach. Yeah.
your kids never got to see you play pro ball, which I didn't know. But they get to see you do this course, which I was like,
Tough
this seems a
break.
little
Yeah.
manipulative to me, where it's like, oh, are you gonna try and make him feel bad that his kids never got to see him in his prime? So they're like, well, you better not like let them down by like leaving this course. I don't
Mhm.
know. Doesn't that seem a little manipulative?
It's tough.
I think they're
Tough break.
preying on his emotional side here.
I think so.
But they also know that he has the mental fortitude and they maybe just need to remind him that because it seems to work. He leaves and he's not leaving anymore. Like he
Mhm.
goes back to the camp and says he had a bit of a moment of weakness, but he's okay.
He goes back. It seems a little shell shocked because he's like, guys, Remy's out there. It's like, yeah, he's just like doing like a
He's just
monkey bar,
exercising.
just exercising. Like,
And Dwight said he's training for the Terminator Olympics, which I did not know was a thing.
we didn't know. Every 4 years, it's Judgment Day.
There should
And
be like, could that be like a reality show? It's like finding the next Terminator.
I mean, sure. Well, I mean, I
Like
guess
they can make a reality show out of anything. We watched freaking Myth Manor.
we watched
Like
this.
we watched this
Yeah.
multiple weeks. They could make the next Terminator. And they should have Arnold Schwarzenegger host it because we know he can host.
Yeah. Uh, get his nephew Patrick
Patrick
also.
in the mix too. That would be
One of
great.
you wants to be my next Terminator, but let's see if you have what it takes. My nephew Patrick is going to be watching you,
You have
judging
to
you.
fight Patrick. He's the red man today.
You're gonna need to take protein powder. Take all the protein that you
I would
can.
love I would love like a reality show think tank where we just come up with
We can
ideas
do
like
better. We
this.
can do better than next America's Next Terminator.
For sure. But the fact that I can actually see that being a show tells you something.
Yeah, we've been through a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, get Jenny in here. Let's see what other ideas she has. Okay. Then, all right. They get called out. Billy's got
It's like
something
11
about
o'clock or something
Dwight
or 1
Howard. Get
o'clock.
out here, get out here. And they bring everybody outside. Mike Piazza doesn't have his armband. Uh-oh.
Yeah, so they pull him to the front and it was like getting called out in class and like being like, "Oh, well, why don't you share this with the class?" Because they say to Mike, explain to everyone why is the rest of your team going to have to do 20 press ups? And it's like he knows immediately. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't have my armband. That's
Mm.
right. Like, you have to explain to your team what you did wrong. And so then the rest of them have to do 20 push-ups, and they make Mike count them. Like, Mike doesn't have to do them. Mike stands there and has to, like, instruct them,
Hmm.
which is, like, again, another, like, psychological, little trick here where
He's
it's
just
like,
counting it out. He's very sad.
yeah, he seemed so, sad. Like, he's been through enough
Come
today,
on. Oh
and
my
now they're making an
God.
example out of him, like,
Hmm. Yeah.
um and then when they finished it, they're like, "Okay, well, yeah, that was not Mike's fault. You all should have taken care of that." So it's like it's all each
Yeah.
other's responsibility to make sure they all have their gear and stuff like that. So it's like, this is your team, but also you might have to fight your team. And also, if you forget things, then it's not your fault, it's their fault. Like, I'm so confused.
And Mike Piazza is thinking about like, I don't know, should he still be here? He's like, I don't want to be the guy at the disco. I was a little confused by this metaphor. I don't want to be
Yes.
the guy who's still at the disco and the lights come on. As like at first I thought he was saying like, I don't want to be like the old guy at the disco.
Right.
But he's also saying like, I don't want to be the guy at the disco when the
At
lights come
all.
on.
And they tell you to go home.
Yeah, you don't have to go home, but you can't
You
stay
can't stay
here.
here. Yeah. Um, yeah, he said something like, "There's nothing sadder than someone who is chasing something that's not there." So you can tell he's like struggling with it. It's like, is he just really trying to prove something that is like just not possible for him to prove, and he's going to like do himself some sort of injustice, whether,
Hmm.
like morally or physically at this point. Um, but yeah, then he says he doesn't want to be the guy at the disco when the lights turn on and they tell you to go home. It's like, does he feel like this is the disco and he should have gone home a long time ago, and he should know that, and that he's embarrassing himself by trying to stay longer? Like, is that what he's getting at? Because he can't
I
hang with the crew.
Yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah.
He can't hang with the crew. But there's
But
only
if
3 days left,
anything,
Mike. Come on.
if you're at the disco, as one goes to the disco, when the lights turn on, if you're still there and the lights turn on, that to me says you're in it for the
You
long
can still
haul.
hang.
You
Yeah.
can still hang. Like, you're still there. I'm in bed for sure by then.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know if I understand this metaphor.
Yeah, some mixed metaphors. All right,
Yeah,
Jenny. And then next week somebody's gonna have a medical emergency. Could be Mike. Could
great.
be. It looked like it
My guess
was
is Gus.
a Caucasian man appears to
Yes.
be the person. So we're
I'm
down
guessing
to
Gus, and I have no grounds for
probably
why.
Mike. Could be Gus. I guess there's a non-zero chance it could be Danny Amendola.
It appears to be, the administering of an EpiPen, which
Hmm.
tells me allergies,
Yeah.
some sort of reaction. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what anyone's. I didn't know Hannah
Okay.
Brown had asthma,
We
so
don't
I
know.
don't
All
know.
right.
But I
Well,
just had a feeling it could be Gus. I don't
let
know
me
why.
get your reaction to something, Jenny. I got a couple of Gus Kenworthy, noteworthy moments from this past week.
Of course.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So Jenny, did you happen to watch the Grammys this past weekend?
No, I am not an awards show
Okay, that's
person.
okay.
I guess like I'm not a movie person, so I definitely like never watch the Oscars or anything like that. I do listen to music though, so I guess the Grammys would be relevant to me, but I did not watch it. I watched it via Twitter.
Okay. So, this weekend was the Grammys, and definitely, there were headlines made. We saw that
Hmm.
our own reality TV stars, uh, Taylor and Joseph were there from
Hmm.
Big Brother on CBS. Jeff Probst made some Grammy Instagram videos, but Gus
Oh.
Kenworthy actually attended the 65th annual Grammy Awards in Los Angeles, and he turned some heads with this outfit that he wore. Jenny, did you see this?
It looks like he's about to paint.
Yes.
Um, it's honestly like it's honestly kind of a serve.
Yeah.
Uh, but overalls are like a thing these days.
Okay.
Um, and I don't know. Okay, that looks like it's designer. It's probably designer, right? What's the label
I'm not
on the
sure. I did see some people on Twitter saying that it's giving Oshkosh Bagosh. Can
Yeah,
you
like
just
I wore this outfit in the
can you
90s. Like,
describe this to our
of
podcast
course.
listeners,
Yes, okay.
Jenny?
So, he's got very well-defined arms. So the shirt that he's wearing is like a white fitted polo shirt that is hugging his biceps gloriously. And his shoulders. It's beautiful.
Yes,
Under the
a
collar
glorious shirt. Yeah.
of the glorious shirt is like a chain. He's got like a silver chain. I don't know if that's part of the shirt or if that's he just tucked his chain under the like not inside of the shirt, under like the collar of the shirt and on top of the shirt. Very important detail, of course. And then he's wearing these like off-white cream colored overalls um
Mm-hmm.
where the straps of them look like seat belts to me. Don't you
Mm-hmm.
think? Those look very seat belty to me. They don't
Yes.
have the
It's like a
typical,
buckle.
they don't buckle on, you know how like the Oshkosh bagosh of it all, like those overalls, that it would be like a fabric, like the denim strap or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
then it had like the little metal thing that hooked onto like a button. It snapped onto a button on the front part of the overall. Whereas I feel like these essentially just have like little seatbelt clicker things that they snap into. But it is an interesting outfit for the Grammys. Like it looks like he's about to go paint a house, but like make it fashion, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like they look like coveralls.
All right. Well, they did do some coveralls of another project that Gus Kenworthy was involved in.
Oh
Jenny, are
boy.
you familiar with the film 80 for Brady?
I have heard of 80 for Brady.
Of course,
I'm very vaguely
and
familiar
some
with it.
connective tissue between Danny
Oh
Amendola, who
yes, of
played
course.
football
With
with
Tom
Tom
Brady.
Brady for many years, and then Gus Kenworthy has a connection to Tom Brady as well, because apparently Gus Kenworthy, I didn't know he acted. He had a role in the film 80 for Brady.
Okay. So this is why he was at the Grammys? It's
Well,
more he's known more for 80 for Brady.
I'm not sure if his role stayed in the film, because Gus Kenworthy claims that his role in the film 80 for Brady, he was supposed to make out with his on-screen boyfriend, played by Brian Jordan Alvarez. However, Kenworthy says that scene never made it to the film. They said they had to cut it for time, but Gus Kenworthy says
Mm.
he thinks that they cut it for middle America. They couldn't handle it.
Oh, snap. He's saying, yeah, like we don't want this man romance on the 80 for Brady. Like what is the point anyway?
Mhm.
So he's speaking out. Did he get paid still? Like is he speaking out
I
against the
think he got
film?
paid. He says, though, that he says that they should release the tapes.
Wow.
Mhm. Um,
Drama.
yes, this story was in the New York Post. The New York Post reached out to Paramount. They did not
Comment.
respond. Yes.
Shocking. Yeah,
Yes.
they're not gonna. Yeah, wow.
Mhm.
I don't know much about the story of 80 for Brady, so I don't
It's about the story of four women who are in their later
yeah,
days who go to the Super Bowl. I believe one of the Super Bowls that Danny Amendola played in with Tom Brady.
but I'm trying to understand like what's Gus's character and what's the story? Like,
I don't know. He had a
yeah.
that
So you're
if I could
telling me
tell
I have
you,
to watch this now? So
no,
wait,
you can't watch it because that part got cut out of the movie.
so that's the only thing that he would have been in? Or
So
is he just
he
saying that
says,
he was in
okay,
other things and then he's
him
criticizing them for cutting the kiss scene?
him and Brian Jordan Alvarez, they performed several takes of a steamy scene. They used the script for one take, but then we did it like 4 or 5 times where we would just ad lib insults at each other like Muppet, idiot, fail, and then make out. It got pretty raunchy.
Raunchy. Is that what
Hmm.
this film is about? I don't know.
Did Gus Kenworthy play Danny Amendola in the movie?
Oh, that would be amazing. That would
Mhm.
be some inception that I'm not prepared for. Um, yeah, I'm confused by this because, like, if it was in the script that they were supposed to do this,
Then maybe
then
the studio cut it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, did anyone, like, take video, like, with their phone? Like, it's
Um,
somewhere. It's somewhere. It's out there. Release the
according
tapes.
according to some in the know, a total of 20 minutes was cut from the film purely for pacing reasons, including key scenes with cast members and cameo appearances such as Gus and Brian's kissing scene.
Oh. Well, that's why they call it 80 for Brady. They have to take 20 out. That's the 80. It's
Yeah, it's the
100. Yeah.
80-20 rule. It's
Yeah,
80 for
exactly.
Brady and 20
A
cut for
20.
time.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. And so
Wow.
yeah, it's a 100-minute movie. 20 has to get cut. It's just 80 for Brady. That's
That's
it.
just what we're working with
All
here.
right, Jenny. What else
Well,
is
he
coming
looks
up for
good. I
you?
will say
Yes.
he did look. I mean, while I don't know, I don't understand fashion these days anyway, but like I
Yeah.
don't understand it as a Grammy outfit. He does look pretty cute, but
Yes. And
um
listen, I would rather for me, I'd rather watch 80 of Gus than
yes.
80 of Brady.
Yeah.
Okay? Jenny,
Absolutely.
anything else about special forces this week?
Uh I I'm just how does it get worse? How does it they tell us it's gonna get harder, it's gonna get
Mhm.
harder. How is this gonna get worse? They
I
freaking gassed them this
I
week.
don't know. I just hope everybody's okay.
I hope they're okay too. I hope they're emotionally okay. Like it's been probably a few months now. I hope they're all doing okay
Mhm.
because man, this is
Well,
rough.
Gus was at the Grammys, so
Yeah, Gus, I think,
he's
yeah, he
doing
looked
great.
good.
He's
So
living
I
his
think he's
best
okay.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's also like, I don't think that even though he said that he's broken bones and that gassing was the most painful thing he's ever endured, he's kept a pretty like positive, fun attitude throughout this whole thing. And we've seen him on multiple occasions be like, that was fun, like that was
Yeah.
easy.
Once that
So
woman that he hated was gone,
yeah. I don't even remember who.
who I don't even I like I know
Oh,
she
it
looked
was
like
the other
the
Olympian. Oh, what was her
actress.
name?
Oh,
Oh my god, I already forget her name.
it's okay.
Nastia?
Yeah.
Is that it?
He
Did
didn't
I just
care
make
for
this
her.
up?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did not
Um
get along.
yeah. All right.
Anyway.
Jenny, what's coming up for you? You're going to see
Not
80 for Brady.
I I mean, it's hard enough for me to watch any movie, Rob. This is the one you want me to prioritize?
No, it's
I'll do
fine.
it for you. I
It's
would
fine.
do it for you,
I would
but
have liked to have done a podcast about 80 for Brady, but maybe we're going to wait till it's on streaming.
yeah.
Maybe
Will it come
they'll
to
put
Netflix?
I'm not watching it until they put Gus's kissing scene back
Yeah,
in.
in protest. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
I
we're Gus
stand with
fans now, so
Gus.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, no, I don't have anything coming up immediately. Maybe in
Maybe
the near-ish future.
nearish. Okay.
Follow me on social media at Jenny Autumn. The next things I am doing, I will promote
She'll let you
there.
know. Okay.
And
All
yeah,
right. Well, we've had such a big week here that we have so much going on with Survivor. We had the Survivor Ultimate Trivia Challenge, talked about Tough as Nails last night. It's Groundhog Week.
loving that, by the way.
Mhm.
It's again, I will not watch a movie, but I will listen to
A
7
podcast, 7
podcasts
podcasts about the same movie.
about the movie.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Jenny, thank you so much for joining us. A great job by you. A glorious job, I might
Oh
add.
my goodness,
Yes.
glorious on your behalf as well.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.